for this Georgia Tech defense, because the last 2 weeks they have given up over 1,000 yards. They need to get off to a good start defensively.
Well, I said those comments were incendiary. Yeah, they really fired up his defense. And the players that we spoke with anyway earlier this week, were ready to prove that they're much better than the yardage that they've given up over the last couple of games. Georgia Tech winning the toss and deferring to the second half. Virginia Tech, meanwhile, will receive. And back deep, Tyrell Roberts and David Wilson for the Hokies. Keep in mind, special teams, one of the signatures of Frank Beamer's tenure here at Virginia Tech. There's Roberts, number 11. He already has one kickoff return for a touchdown this year. From the goal line, it's Wilson. And Wilson's going to be stopped up at the 20-yard line. That's where they'll start, first down and 10. And Tyrod Taylor, the starting quarterback, 18-3 as a starter. Very few have had a better record at this juncture of their career at Virginia Tech during the last couple of weeks. As you look at his season numbers, keep in mind that he has completed 75% of his passes with 4 touchdown tosses versus no interceptions. Check out the rest of the starters at the top of the screen. Keep an eye on number 34 right there, Ryan Williams. He is the leading rusher in the ACC coming into this game. First and 10, a little play fake. Taylor up top. A little bit of contact, but no call intended for Jarrett Boykin. Good coverage. Actually pressure up front by Derek Morgan.
Mark, this wind, it is really windy in Atlanta today. Keep in mind, Virginia Tech actually going into the wind, excuse me, right now. Pretty aggressive play call right there off the bat.
Second down and 10. Oglesby and Williams in the backfield. Ryan Williams, the redshirt freshman, the highly touted redshirt freshman, gains about 3 on the play. Bob, let's take a look at the impact players.
Well, Mark, I think Tyrod Taylor is one of the most improved quarterbacks in college football. Early in his career, he showed he had great skills. I think he's becoming a polished quarterback now. Ryan Williams. To me, this guy may be the most exciting running back in all of college football. He's only a redshirt freshman. And when you play the triple option, your defensive ends are key. Jason Worlds, another in those long line of big-time Tech defensive linemen.
And the lineage of Corey Moore and Darryl Tapp. Third down and 7. And Georgia Tech calls a timeout. Remember, check out the lineups. You can see the Georgia Tech defense up at the top of the screen. The guys up front, the guys to watch, Derek Morgan, the leader up there, number 91, a defense that we said has had its struggles in the last couple of games. Bob, we talked about the fact that they've made several adjustments defensively, most notably first after the Miami loss in Miami, and then another one perhaps now, and that's Coach Womack on the hot seat a little bit right now.
Mark, anytime you struggle like they've struggled on defense, the key word is always simplify. Do less, but do it better. The problem is this is their second simplification. They simplified after Miami. You know, the last 2 weeks, I mean, they've given up 75 points over 1,000 yards. Right here on third down, they are 99th in the country on third down. So this has been a big, big problem area for them. Third down defense.
I guess the odd thing is, despite those struggles defensively, they've won their last 3 games. Third and 7 coming out of the timeout. Boone in motion. Taylor up top. And it's caught at the 41-yard line by Tyrell Roberts. A great catch as he was working against Mario Butler. A 40-yard gain and a first down for the Hokies.
Boy, that is just one-on-one Tyrell Roberts, who had the 11-yard touchdown against Nebraska. That's excellent coverage by Mario Butler right there. Not much analyzation there, Mark. Just Tyrell Roberts going up and making a play. That's a big blow to this Georgia Tech defense because they had that thing well defended.
They chronicled their struggles on third down. Virginia Tech converting on third down. First down and 10. Boykin was in motion. And this is the redshirt freshman again, Ryan Williams, getting about 2 on the play. We should let you know that Ryan Williams has had some health issues during the past several days. Actually, he didn't work out much on Thursday. He had limited work on Wednesday. So it's going to be a little bit of an experiment and a see as they go along as to how healthy and how much juice he has.
You know, Mark, I think particularly for a redshirt freshman, for a younger guy, you know, one of the toughest things sometimes for a young guy is to learn to play through some discomfort. So he's had some health issues this week. It'll be interesting to see how he fights through it.
Nowhere to go for Jarrett Boykin. And it'll be 3rd and long coming up. Look at the weather conditions here in the metropolitan Atlanta area. 49 degrees, but partner, as you said a minute ago, man, you and I were down in the field there, and I think I saw Dorothy and Toto blowing by in the wind.
Well, I had a hard time getting you out of the box to come down and join me, but it is extremely windy, 15 miles per hour, kind of swirling around. Virginia Tech going into the wind right now.
And the officials are going to blow this play dead.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, number 5, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Mark, one problem Virginia Tech has had on offense, even though they've improved dramatically, pass protection. You know, they're 104th in the NCAA in pass protection. They give up almost 3 sacks a game. And that's really strange when you think about the mobility of Tyrod Taylor. So pass protection has been a key problem for Virginia Tech.
3rd and 12 after the penalty. Oglesby in the backfield beside Taylor. They converted last time on 3rd down. And Taylor is sacked back at the 45. And that effectively takes them out of field goal range as well. Sylvester, one of the first guys to get there along with Jason Peters. The 11th sack of the season for the Yellow Jackets.
Watch right here. They're going to bring both linebackers. The number 51, Brad Jefferson's going to come around on this twist stunt. We just talked about pass protection, Mark.
Number 97.
A key stop, though, for this Georgia Tech defense. That's a huge boost in confidence.
Brett Bowden now into punt, Bob, standing at his own 41-yard line. He's averaging a little over 45 per punt this year. Tarrant calls for the fair catch inside the 15-yard line. Georgia Tech's going to get its first offensive possession when we come back. I got that all wrong.
I don't know. I think those days are over because homecoming is usually the middle of the season, so you're kind of into that conference play.
Georgia Tech first down and 10 from their own 13-yard line. It's the first time they've touched the ball tonight. Flag down on the play. Nesbitt back to pass, throws it up for grabs, and out of bounds. Demarius Thomas had no shot at catching that. Rashard Carmichael was back there in coverage. And, Thomas comes up limping a little bit.
Number 6, 5 yards, still 1st down.
It's going to go against Jason Worlds.
Well, that pass was incomplete, but you just saw Georgia Tech's passing game. Josh Nesbitt to Demarius Thomas. I mean, Demarius Thomas has 26 of the team's 37 catches on the season.
It's pretty much in line with last year, Bob, when he had 39 catches. The rest of the team had a total of 35. And there's the big, strapping, strong, and fast receiver out wide. 1st and 5 now.
Watch.
Fumble and pounced on back at the 9-yard line and still loose, actually out of bounds. Embry Peoples appeared to have it momentarily, but it's going to stay Georgia Tech football all the way back now at the 9-yard line. They'll lose 9 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and long. Well, Bob, when you have so many moving parts in option football, that's bound to happen, right?
Well, and Georgia Tech really has become and wants to be a fullback, quarterback keep team. They had some problems on some pitches down at Florida State. So when you make them execute the 3rd phase of that option, you actually have a better chance of stopping them.
2nd and 14. Nesbitt hands it off to Jonathan Dwyer, brought down immediately right near the line of scrimmage by Barquell Rivers. That's going to be a loss of 1. It'll be 3rd down and long for Georgia Tech. Jonathan Dwyer, the reigning ACC Offensive Player of the Year.
And this Virginia Tech defense last week against Boston College, you talk about a first half of defense. They gave up 3 yards and 0 first downs in the entire first half against Boston College.
They say that this Virginia Tech defense is off a little bit this year. 3rd and 15.
Right of the snap. Delay game. Offense number 9. Half the distance. Still 3rd down.
So now each team has its own delay of game penalty. Paul Johnson's team hasn't had much trouble scoring points.
It's 3rd down and 19.
Last week with 49 in that win on the road at Florida State. 3rd and 19 coming up. Dwyer in the backfield. Nesbitt keeps it. And he's going to be brought down after a gain of about 3 on the play by Cody Grimm, the weak side linebacker, 5'11", the redshirt senior. And it's going to be a punting situation now for Georgia Tech. Interestingly enough, Bob, we didn't see the punter all last week for Georgia Tech down in Tallahassee. Now we see him early.
That is amazing. They did not punt the football last week. Of course, Florida State only punted 1 time, but anytime Virginia Tech's in this situation, Mark, you have to talk about punt block. They've only blocked 1 punt all year, but it was for a touchdown against Miami.
Didn't go after it this time. Hosley back deep. He's run back a punt this year as he calls for the fair catch at the 42-yard line. Let's check in with Wendy Nix in the studio. All right, Wendy, back here, 1st and 10. Good starting field position as Ryan Williams takes the handoff, plows his way over the 40, picking up 3 on the play.
Kyle Orton going from the Bears to the Broncos.
Working out pretty good. We're going to take a timeout. Be right back after this. On the scoreboard, 2nd and long for the Hokies. Ryan Williams brought down behind the line of scrimmage by Ajon Cross. He'll lose a yard on the play. Brad Jefferson also in on the neighborhood. Bob, you said earlier that Ryan Williams was going to have to adjust to being ill. And for younger players, it's tough. What do you mean exactly?
Well, I just think as you mature, you learn to play through all those little nicks and pains and sicknesses. As a young guy, sometimes you have to feel great to go play. And I'm not saying he's maybe a little bit babied or a little bit spoiled. I'm just saying in general, young guys have a tougher time playing through minor injuries and sickness.
3rd down and 8. Taylor completes the pass, but it's short of the 1st down at the 35-yard line to Dyrell Roberts. He picks up 5 on the play.
Mark, you notice this Georgia Tech defense. They are playing inspired football right now. And embarrassment sometimes is the greatest motivator. And we chronicled early, Paul Johnson had some negative things to say about his defense Sunday and Monday. But more importantly, these last 2 games have embarrassed this Georgia Tech defense, and I think they're playing with a lot of fire right now.
They're able to get off the field on 3rd down. That's Jared Tarrant. Has already run a punt back, 2 of them actually, for a touchdown this year. And watches this one go over his head. Oh boy, the Hokies missed an opportunity, a golden one, to down it inside the 5. It'll come out instead to the 20-yard line after the 35-yard punt. Well, Georgia Tech had that one stumble against Miami. They're 5-1 coming in. Let's see how they got to this point. They lost down in Miami. Since that time have won 3 straight games.
And you see why this game is even more critical to Georgia Tech, because Miami is an ACC game. So if you go down 2 games, you're out of the race. Where Virginia Tech, on the other hand, their loss is to an out-of-conference Alabama team.
1st down and 10 from the 20. Nesbitt on the keeper, and he picks up about 4 on the play. Rivers making the stop on the play for the Hokies. Here's what this game is all about. When you look at the ACC standings, if you go 2 games down, Bob, you said it, you're pretty much out of the race. Virginia Tech has the tiebreaker against Miami head-to-head, so a win for the Hokies, and they're in very good position.
And for both of these teams, the difficult part of their schedule when they walk out of this stadium today is behind them.
2nd down, about 6 to go. Hand off to Wright, and Wright with nowhere to go. Might have lost a yard on the play, and a flag down.
The left guard, number 70, Joseph Gilbert, Mark, holding John Graves, number 91. I mean, this Virginia Tech defensive line.
Number 70 offense, 10 yards previous spot, still 2nd down.
This Virginia Tech defensive line, you know, you talk about beamer ball, you talk about block kicks, all those things. I think they've been known just as much for explosive 6'1", 6'2" defensive linemen. You know, it seems like every year they have a 6'1" or 6'2", 300-pound guy, and Bud Foster gets those guys to play as hard as anybody in the country.
One of the top defensive coordinators in the country. 2nd and 16. And another flag down to the field. This might be another delay.
Prior to the snap, false start, 71 offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
You know, when you talk about Bud Foster, Cam Chancellor.
He looks pretty good on that thing.
Nesbitt in trouble. The pass is caught, but there's a flag down in the play. The pass caught at the 31-yard line.
70 offense, half the distance, still 2nd down.
Well, that offensive line struggling a little bit right now. Yeah, Bob, Bud Foster's raised the bar for defensive coordinators.
I want to go
I've
back
never seen
and
you
look.
do
What's that thing called, a wakeboard?
Yeah.
I want to go
Boogie board.
back and see now. That may not have been him on that thing.
Oh, you think it's fake?
That looked too good. I didn't get a good enough look at his face. That might have been an imposter on that board.
Kind
of like that kid out in Colorado in that hot air balloon. There's something fishy about that story.
They give us to the fullback. The A-back, Jonathan Dwyer, picks up 2 on the play. Cardero Thompson making the stop.
He's brought down by number 95.
Also, 3rd and 23 to go now. Nesbitt passing out of his end zone. Nobody even close to that one, and Bud Foster's defense gets off the field on 3rd down. And Bob kind of underscores in between gigs on the lake like that. He was visiting Georgia, learning how to defend that option during the summertime.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on Georgia Tech. You know, last year they won the game, but they gave up about 370 yards. And they went down and visited Georgia in the spring and just kind of clinicked each other. And normally early in the game, Mark, the triple option has the advantage because you don't adapt to the speed quickly enough.
Anderson with the punt. Down to the 45. It's Hosley. And he is met immediately. Nothing on the return after a pretty good punt of 38 yards. Virginia Tech in decent field position when we come back to Atlanta. Back in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium, historic Grant Field. Virginia Tech looking for its 3rd consecutive win against the Yellow Jackets. 1st and 10 Taylor has it batted at the line of scrimmage, and it's picked off. Jason Peters deflected it and caught it. Wow.
Mark, watch this play by Jason Peters. I'm going to let it roll. I'm not sure exactly where he is, but watch him bat the ball. Here he comes from over the nose. Bats the ball, then reaches out, stretches out, and makes the interception. It's going to be reviewed, but that was a great effort by the sophomore out of Baton Rouge right there.
When you talk about a defense standing up for itself and making a play, that would be one if it stands.
Everybody on this side say yellow. Everybody on this side say Jackets. Here we go. Yellow. Jackets. Yellow.
There's another look at it.
Yellow.
Close for me to call right there, Mark. I mean, great job of swatting that ball with his left. And then extending out.
Looked like he's got his arms underneath it. The key was coming up like he'd caught it. Yeah, he sold it pretty well.
Wait a second.
He sold it.
Officials are, yeah.
That's a tough angle.
Great
there.
effort, I'll say that. And again, the call was ruled an interception on the field.
This should tell us a little bit more.
I don't think there's enough evidence, Mark, to overturn that call.
Here it is.
Ruling on the field stands. Stand.
And you talk about reviews. How about in the Oklahoma-Texas game today? I don't think I've seen as many reviews in that game.
They played the whole game on rewind, it seemed at times. That's Georgia Tech's 7th interception of the season, courtesy of Jason Peters. And for Tyrod Taylor, just his 4th interception of the season. Check that 2nd interception. Nesbitt. And he gains about 4 on the play. Bob, let's take a look at Georgia Tech's impact players.
Mark, in the triple option, it starts with the quarterback, but the fullback, Jonathan Dwyer, he gives Georgia Tech a home run threat every time he touches the ball. I mean, Virginia Tech took him out of it last year. We said earlier, when you talk about passing game, it is all about Demario Thomas. 4 catches for over 50 yards. And a lot of credit to this Georgia Tech defense. They're playing well. Derek Morgan is their best defensive player.
Rocking that bow tie again. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Yellow Jackets. Nesbitt under heat and brought down immediately by all-world Jason Worlds. That's why he's all ACC. A loss of 3 on the play. We'll talk about him in the mold of Corey Moore and Darryl Tapp, 2 former greats at Virginia Tech.
And I'll tell you what they do a great job of. Watch Worlds right here. He's going to come down like he's going to take the fullback, but then he's going to give the quarterback a misread and jump up on the quarterback. Watch him. He closes. Josh Nesbitt thinks he's going to take the fullback, then he jumps upfield on the quarterback.
Sets up a 3rd and 8. Nesbitt keeps it, but not enough for the first down. He's about 2 yards short after a 5-yard gain. John Graves makes the stop on the play for Virginia Tech.
No brainer. No-brainer, triple option football, Mark. They go for it on 4th down. Last week against Florida State, went for it several times. They're 6 for 8 on 4th down this season, Mark. Last week they were 2 for 2 against Florida State, so there wasn't even a hesitation here.
I had a feeling. But Foster knows that they're going for it. On the pitch, 1 man to beat, and they're not going to get it. Great pursuit. Anthony Allen actually got there. Got it by a yard, pardon me.
The way Virginia Tech plays this option, there's a lot of pressure on this free safety. Watch Cam Chancellor at 6'4", 230, Mark. I mean, he covers a lot of ground there, but he gets a little bit outside the running back, and that's a tough open field tackle. But this guy right here, the scheme Bud Foster is using, is the most critical guy on the field for Virginia Tech. He has to make tackles in the open field.
First and 10. Nesbitt, a little play fake. Into heavy coverage and incomplete. I'm talking about there were 3 different players from Virginia Tech around Stephen Hill. Well, here's what's happening now. The Coastal Division title perhaps on the line tonight as Virginia Tech takes on Georgia Tech. And coming up ahead, Davy Jones-Locker, a revised definition of sorts to talk about with football implications. And Bob Davie going to break it right down like it's never been broken before, stopping the option.
I wonder how our ratings are doing on the Davy Jones-Locker. Do you think nationally that's carrying some impact?
We got to break that little treasure chest open. On the toss, this is Roddy Jones. And Jones stopped up. At number 26, Cody Grimm, a gain of about 3 on the play. I bet you Wendy can break down the option a little bit for us. Wendy, back to you.
Gain of 3 on the play. It's 3rd down and 7 from the 35.
I wonder if this is Florida's Mississippi game from last year.
Well,
is Tebow going to have to make another one of those impassioned speeches after the game, you think?
Well, I hope not. But we had Arkansas early in the year, Mark, and Riot Mallet and those young receivers. They're an explosive offensive team.
Back after this. On 3rd and 7, Nesbitt under some heat and sacked back at the 48-yard line by Stephon Virgil. A loss of 13. And some Hokie fans that made the trip from Blacksburg liking it.
Anytime you get Georgia Tech in a passing situation, it definitely favors the defense. That time, Bud Foster on the corner blitz, Stephon Virgil. And you know that boundary corner at Virginia Tech is a very prestigious position. I think they've had 4 All-Americans in a row that have played that boundary corner position.
Seen a lot of guys into the league. Aaron Hosley back deep on his own 10, but that's going to be the last play of the first quarter here in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium. This historic Grant Field, with the Coastal Division perhaps on the line for both these teams. Tyrod Taylor has thrown a pick, and he's having a tough time against an inspired Yellow Jacket defense. Back after this. Fourth down for the Yellow Jackets, punting from their own 40. Hosley standing on his own 10, and he'll watch it bounce. It takes a Yellow Jacket bounce out of bounds at about the 12-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for Virginia Tech. A 35-yard punt and nothing on the return. And part of the reason for Virginia Tech's great improvement, Bob, over the last 5 games, all 5 wins, has been Tyrod Taylor just getting much more comfortable and much more confident in the people around him.
I think he does a great job, Mark, now of not taking off and scrambling, but scrambling to look for the throw downfield. He's had many huge plays this year because secondaries can't stay in coverage long enough when he starts to scramble, and he throws the ball down the field.
Has yet to get it going here tonight. This is Oglesby gaining a few yards. Well, Bob, each 2nd and 7. There's Cole split wide. The give once again is to Josh Oglesby. Interesting that Oglesby would get the last 2 carries, Bob. Ryan Williams largely ineffective so far. Oglesby picking up 5 that time.
Yeah, and Ryan Williams, Mark, averaging 122 yards a game coming into the game, 150 against Miami. Electrifying young running back. Josh Oglesby, whose dad was a running back at North Carolina. Probably a more solid all-around back, but not nearly as exciting with the ball in his hands.
3rd and 2.
Yeah, we like that.
Well, that's the old Tyrod Taylor, and the old Tyrod Taylor's pretty good, Bob. Gets the first down on a nice scramble up the sidelines. Good for 11 yards.
Yeah, you can see why he was rated, Mark, coming out of high school. Tyrod Taylor, the #1 dual threat in the country. Came down to Florida and Virginia Tech, and I mean, he is really fast. Remember last year we had him up on the artificial surface at Boston College? I mean, he looks like he's a 4-3 kind of guy. That was a big first down off the scramble.
To the 31. Little play fake. Taylor with a gaping hole up the middle. And hit hard at the 36-yard line to pick up 5 as we go back to Wendy Nix. He's the hurt guy.
Yeah.
Back in the action, we have an injured player down at the field. That's Julian Burnett. Here's how he was shaken up a few moments ago.
Yeah, Julian Burnett, a true freshman linebacker. You're going to see right there, great tackle in the open field, great effort.
Made his first start against North Carolina. True freshman has really impressed the coaching staff. We'll see about his condition when we come back. Back under the lights in Atlanta, Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech with the ball. 2nd down and 5. Operating from their own 36-yard line. As the drizzle begins here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Oglesby over the 35. Stopped up by Ijon Cross. Already a little bit of a memorable day in college football when you look at one of the upsets already. Ohio State upended against Purdue today.
Well, this is a huge opportunity today, Mark, for Virginia Tech. You know, a lot of people are asking who's the best one-loss team in the country. Virginia Tech has a great opportunity, but it looks like they're going to have to do it without Ryan Williams. Josh Oglesby has been the back in the football game.
3rd and 5. Incomplete and almost intercepted at the 45-yard line. It appeared to be tipped, intended for Jarrett Boykin. But Morgan Burnett was there to tip it.
Excuse me, Mark. Maybe Paul Johnson knew what he was doing. I know he knew what he was doing. With the quote early in the week about his defense saying they didn't look like they knew what they were doing. That has motivated, something has really motivated this Georgia Tech defense. I mean, they are playing inspired football right here in the first half.
3rd punt of the night for Virginia Tech. Brent Bowden in. Tarrant back. He's run back 2 punts this year for touchdowns. And Bowden with a line drive at the 23. Tarrant with a nice return out to the 35. A 13-yard return of the punt. And you talked about the quote by Paul Johnson. Here's what he said: we have to be accountable as coaches when it looks like they don't know what they're doing.
And he was really talking about Georgia Tech substituted a lot of players, ran a lot of guys on and off the field. But let's think back a week ago now in that meltdown in Tallahassee. Florida State did not punt. They had 400 yards offense in the first half. What a tremendous motivator. And Dave Womack, we talked early, they needed confidence early in the game, Mark, and they have gotten confidence early in the game.
From the 34. Nesbitt keeps it. And Nesbitt out to the 39, picking up 5. You know, getting back to the situation with Georgia Tech's defense, it was interesting that Coach Womack, the defensive coordinator, looked at the glasses being half full, not half empty. He told the guys, hey, the bright spot is that we only gave up 133 yards in the second half and only 9 points.
And the brightest thing, they won the game. It's always easier, Mark, to make those corrections after you win, because the bottom line, everyone still feels good after you won the game.
Second and 5. Nesbitt on the task to Allen. Anthony Allen, the Louisville transfer. Brought down at the 42-yard line, 3 yards short of the first down. Cody Grimm makes the stop, and Nikos Brown as well. Well, if that name Cody Grimm or the surname sounds familiar, it's because it should be if you were a football fan in the D.C. area. Russ Grimm, his dad played with the Washington Redskins and the Cards in the NFL back in the day.
His dad's assistant head coach at the Arizona Cardinals. His brother, who played at Tech, works for the Arizona Cardinals as well. And I think there's a younger brother that's a great lacrosse player, as was Cody in high school.
On 3rd and 2, Nesbitt gets the first down and falls forward to the 48. Well, Grimm couldn't do anything about that one on the 5-yard pickup by Nesbitt. Grimm, an interesting story, though, Bob. You mentioned his brother being a lacrosse player. Grimm, too, a great lacrosse prospect coming out of high school. He was recruited by Georgetown and Virginia and other lacrosse powerhouses. There he is, a little bit of an undersized linebacker, but Virginia Tech took a flyer on him. He walked on, now on scholarship. Nesbitt up top for Demaryius Thomas. It's a jump ball, and one of the few times you won't see Thomas come down with it. Carmichael broke it up.
Mark, this is the first time all season Georgia Tech didn't score in the first quarter of a football game.
Nesbitt keeps it himself and nowhere to go. That thing was plugged up and stopped dead at the 45-yard line. Might be a loss of one on the play. Chris Drager there first.
And Virginia Tech's style of playing this option, much different than last week in Florida State's plan. Virginia Tech has a lot of people up there close to the line of scrimmage. They're going to make it really hard. I mean, the fullback has not even carried the ball in this game yet. They're going to make it really hard and force Georgia Tech to put that ball out on the perimeter, pitching it. They're going to try to take the fullback and the quarterback out of it.
On 3rd and long. Austin Barrick moving on the right side of the offensive line.
5 yards, Still third down.
That's 5 penalties on offense in this football game for Georgia Tech.
Well, self-inflicted wounds are the toughest ones.
Well, so much, Mark, with this offense. Again, you cannot get in passing situations. You have to stay on rhythm and in positive down and distance situations because they are not geared to throw the football in passing downs.
3rd and 17 for most teams that'd be passing. And that's what they do here. And miscommunication between Demaryius Thomas, who broke the route off. And it's 4th and 17 on the incompletion.
There it says it all, Mark. Georgia Tech offense, 19 plays, 16 yards, 5 penalties, and 28 yards. What a difference a week makes. But what a difference the scheme of Virginia Tech is making and the self-inflicted penalties by Georgia Tech.
4th punt of the afternoon from Chandler Anderson under a little heat. Came after him a little bit that time, but ball bouncing harmlessly down at the 27-yard line. Well, last year, Josh Nesbitt said he remembers us losing the game, he says, because we virtually gave it away with bad turnovers. Trying to atone for that tonight against Virginia Tech. We'll be back. Ryan Williams back in the ball game on 1st and 10 for the Hokies. Taylor with plenty of time. And runs out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. Picked up 8 on the play.
You know, this Virginia Tech offense hasn't really clicked here yet today, Mark, but they are one of the most improved offenses in the country. Last year they were 103rd in the nation in total offense. Nobody knows that better than Hokie fans. This year they're number 54, and in the ACC conference games, I mean, they're averaging 37 points a game. So they are an improved team, and it all goes hand in hand with that guy under center, the quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor hands it off to Ryan Williams, the leading rusher in the ACC coming in. Got 2 tough yards that time, and going back to Tyrod Taylor and his improvement, he credits some of it to the fact that he's kept in line with the great lineage of quarterbacks at Virginia Tech, including Aaron Brooks and Michael Vick, who he told me he spoke with recently. He said that Michael was making sure that I stay on top of my game, especially this week against the Yellow Jackets. 1st down and 10. 7:45 to go in the first quarter. No score. Nice play fake by Taylor. And wide open for the 1st down at the 41-yard line. Nice catch by Darrell Roberts.
And Mark, that was a great job of Tyrod Taylor taking something off that football. You know, there's a tendency, particularly when you're running to the right, a guy with a real strong arm just to rifle that thing. He made a nice soft throw right there to a wide open Darrell Roberts.
1st down and 10. The 41. Ryan Williams over the right side of that offensive line. Stopped up after a gain of about 2 on the play as we approach the top of the hour. Look at what's happening now here in Atlanta. Total yardage story, not too much of it, most of it coming from Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech with just 16 yards, and coming up ahead on Davy Jones Locker this week, a revised definition with a football twist, and schools, colleges, universities with metropolitan campuses. Kind of unique thing. And if you don't believe us, look at those pictures nestled here in Bobby Dodd Stadium in the heart of Atlanta. Right off I-75 and 85. Williams with the reception, made a nice move, and Ryan Williams getting his giddy up on 1st down for the Hokies at the 23, a 15-yard gain. Derek Morgan made the stop on the play.
And that's the first chance you've had to see the real running style of Ryan Williams, Mark. Right here, nice little screen set up. Georgia Tech well defended. He jumps in and out of cuts. And I know it's really, really premature, but he kind of does look like that old number 34. that made that number famous, Walter Payton. I'm talking about just his style of play.
He's got a tattoo on his arm that says "Little Sweetness." In honor of Walter Payton, this is Tyrod Taylor, who, by the way, was Ryan Williams' host on his visit to Virginia Tech a couple of years ago. Taylor gets 6 on the play. Now, Bob, when you're head coach, you make sure you set up a certain guy with a guy who's coming on his campus visit?
Oh, no question, Mark. That's one of the most researched things you do. Because
research?
You only have, 2 days or 2.5 days on campus, and you have to make sure that guy has a great time, and you have to make sure he's with someone that has common interest. And usually your best players are also your best recruiters.
Worked out pretty good for Virginia Tech so far. Williams again on the handoff from Taylor. Cedric Griffin makes the stop after the gain of about 2. This was in stark contrast to this. 0s on the scoreboard and 0 yardage on that running play by Ryan Williams, stopped up by Derek Morgan and Cedric Griffin. Actually a loss of 1 on the play. Fourth down coming up.
No question. That's a lot different than last week in Tallahassee, Georgia Tech offensively. But just as different has been this Georgia Tech defense. And that was a great 3rd down stop right there, forcing Virginia Tech into a field goal situation.
Matt Waldron from 34 yards out. And Waldron is true. He's now 4 of 4. From between 30 and 39 yards. And Frank Beamer's team gets on the scoreboard first with 4:01 to go in the first half of play. Well, that's a lot like that Miami game that Georgia Tech lost in down in South Florida several weeks ago. Peoples and Smith back deep for the kickoff return for Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets have yet to run back a kick for a touchdown this year. This is Peoples. And Peoples out to the 30-yard line. Well, this week, Broncos undefeated at 6-0. Boy, that game last Monday is going to be a tough one to beat.
It was a great game down in Miami.
Give me some Wildcat, Bob Davie.
Well, you're getting all the Wildcats you want right here with this offense.
Nesbitt keeps it. That, I believe, I'm told by my partner, is the quarterback lead out to the 38. And we'll lead our way to Wendy in the studio after the 11-yard game.
That was a great football game in Gainesville, and the Gators come back and win that thing.
2 weeks in a row now we see Florida have a couple close calls. Next week they take on Mississippi State in Starkville. And there's a look at how short they are for the first down. Well, Florida gets by, and remember the BCS standings come out after this weekend's games. Projections show that Florida would probably remain at #1. Bob, Texas won today, but not many style or beauty points.
I just don't think in a game like that, Mark, that it matters that much. You know, the Texas-Oklahoma game with those kind of athletes all at stake, it's not going to be real pretty. You know, just getting that win there was huge for Texas.
2nd down and short coming up for the Yellow Jackets. Nesbitt looking to pass for Thomas. Caught. Jump ball advantage, Demaryius Thomas.
Mark, this guy does it every week. He has 4 catches over 50 yards on the season. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. Rashad Carmichael, really good coverage other than he never looks back for the football. That's just a big, strong man going up and making that play. Kind of a baby Calvin Johnson.
You can almost hear Thomas say, hey, give it to me. I got a little one. A 50-yard gain and a first down all the way down to the 13. Nesbitt on the toss. That's right. And right inside the 5-yard line. Second down and short coming up. A gain of close to 9 on the play.
Mark, I told you that the free safety Cam Chancellor is critical on the pitch. That time he's going to come on the pitch, but he's going to get caught up in traffic. Watch him right in the middle of the field right here. He's going to come downhill on the pitch, but watch what happens. He kind of gets caught up in there with the slot back, and that results in about a 9-yard gain.
2nd and 1. They give it to the fullback, the first man through, Dwyer. And Dwyer looks like he's going to have enough to get the first down. It'll make it first down and goal for the Yellow Jackets. Jonathan Dwyer last year, the ACC Player of the Year.
And I know it's frustrating for Dwyer, Mark, because this the way this Virginia Tech defense is set up with their defensive tackles. They take the fullback out of the game almost. So it's a frustrating night for him. It's going to be a quarterback keeper pitch game.
Nesbitt keeps it himself. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage and nowhere to go. Cam Chancellor, the guy you were referring to a few moments ago, Bob, that time didn't get caught up in traffic and made the play.
Number 17.
Chancellor consistently grading out amongst the highest defenders for Virginia Tech week after week.
Well, he's about 6'4", 230 pounds, 34 starts, Mark. They tell me this guy is not a good basketball player, but a great basketball player.
Testament to his athletic talents, and he holds the lunch pail that Bud Foster likes to give
out. It just doesn't seem right giving that lunch pail to a basketball player. He must be a different breed because he's tough.
Dwyer tough, but not tough enough to get in. It's going to be 3rd down and goal. They're going to spot it about 6 inches short of the goal line. Fair to say that the Hokies stuffing Dwyer so far, the fullback?
No question, Mark. They stuffed him last year. I mean, the game last year in, Blacksburg, I think he had about 12 yards in that football game.
He's run 4 times for 6 yards tonight. 3rd and goal. Nesbitt. Touchdown.
That has to be so frustrating for Bud Foster, Mark, because they played great defense. The one jump ball to Demarius Thomas, and Georgia Tech's going to go in at halftime with a lead in this football game, which is amazing.
Blair in for the extra point, knocks it through, and Georgia Tech leads 7-3. The 2 highest scoring offensive teams in the ACC in a defensive battle. Back to Atlanta right after this.
Schemed against Paul Johnson.
And back deep, it's Tyrell Roberts and Wilson. David Wilson on the return, has an alley. Wilson with a nice move out near midfield at the 49-yard line. Let's go back to Wendy in the studio. All right, Wendy. 1st down and 10 from midfield. Virginia Tech with 2 timeouts remaining. 24 seconds to work with. Perhaps getting in field goal range, one of their ambitions right now. Flag down, and this could come back. Whatever results, the pass incomplete.
Mark, it's going to come back. Obviously, a holding penalty.
70, offense. 10 yards previous spot. Still first down.
The offense struggling so far in the first half for Virginia Tech. Just 3 points on the board. Now this after scoring 48 last week in a win against Boston College. It'll be a 1st down and 20 coming up now from their own 40-yard line. Timeout called by Virginia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Well, Florida getting by, a big day in college football for the #1 team, and with the top 3 teams in the conference. Taylor, backside pressure. Well, this guy can escape. Getting a little bit of help. And runs out of bounds at the 43-yard line with 2 seconds to go. A 3-yard gain on the play. You know, last week in their win against Boston College, he scrambled around for about 15 seconds on the clock and then threw a perfect strike to Danny Cole for a touchdown. So no play is ever dead with him.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty, Mark, for the defense, staying in coverage. But I am very, very impressed with this Georgia Tech defense. They have come out tonight, accepted the challenge, and just played with great energy here in this first half.
Taylor heaves this one downfield. This will end up in the end zone. And it's intercepted in the end zone by Morgan Burnett. That's his 4th interception of the season. And that punctuates the end of the first half of play. Georgia Tech leading 7-3. Homecoming week here at Georgia Tech. We thought it would be a high-scoring game, but so far it's only 7-3. As we go back to Wendy in the studio. Wendy, it's like, you know, popcorn. A lot of potential. Some pop, but some don't. Let's go back to you at the Outback Steakhouse report. Welcome back to college football on ESPN Primetime. Virginia Tech trailing Georgia Tech 7-3. In stark contrast to last week, where there was a whole bunch of offense on the field between Georgia Tech and Florida State down in Tallahassee, as we go all access.
Mark, you talk about last week, the quarterback Josh Nesbitt. You know, this is a great scheme. Make no mistake about it, but it does come down to players, and it comes down to tackling. Watch Josh Nesbitt on the option. The linebacker from Florida State really ends up in great position, but Josh Nesbitt makes him miss right there and then creases it for a touchdown. But you compare this week to last week and all those statistics, there's only one statistics that matters, Mark.
Let me guess. The score?
The scoreboard.
Here's what it looked like tonight so far.
Well, Virginia Tech has made it very difficult inside on the fullback and the quarterback. Just their scheme of defense, they have really loaded it up. I look for this game in the second half to be much more of a perimeter offensive game for Georgia Tech. Getting the ball out on the perimeter, Mark, pitching that football.
They had one big play in the passing game downfield to Demaryius Thomas for 50 yards. As Georgia Tech will get possession here to start the third quarter. They won the toss and deferred to the second half. Short kick out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. That's where Josh Nesbitt will take the reins of this offense for Georgia Tech.
I mean, this football team is playing very well defensively. They're the reason Georgia Tech's ahead in this game.
They played inspired football so far. Dwyer about 4 yards on first down. Look at the first half numbers.
And it's amazing. I mean, 88 yards total offense for Georgia Tech. 51 yards passing on one pass. 5 offensive penalties, but Mark, they are ahead on the scoreboard 7-3. Last week they had those unbelievable offensive stats, but they were trailing at Florida State 35-28.
Great point. Jonathan Dwyer in the backfield. That's Anthony Allen in motion. He takes the toss, getting to the edge. Allen got to the perimeter and gets the first down, brought down to the 40. Bob, it's just as you were talking about, a perimeter type game in the second half.
Mark, because Virginia Tech is packing it inside, If you look out on the perimeter, there's not much defense out there. This is a great answer by Paul Johnson. You see the free safety Chancellor running out there on the pitch, but that is a long way to go. When you pitch the ball directly from the quarterback to the back, it gets out there so much faster than if you run the option. But that is a result of how Virginia Tech schematically is packing people inside.
Pickup of 16 on the play, 1st down and 10. Dwyer on the handoff, first man through down inside the 35, picked up 5 on the play. So Bob, subsequently, what's the adjustment that Virginia Tech makes if Georgia Tech tries to hit that edge?
Well, I don't think Virginia Tech Bud Foster will panic yet. I mean, it's going to have to be a reoccurring problem. I think Virginia Tech will be fine, but just as this flow of this game goes, the fullback is going to be very difficult to establish.
No team in the ACC gains more yards per game than this Yellow Jacket offense. On 2nd and 5, Nesbitt keeps it. The quarterback lead, and Nesbitt inside the 10, 1st and goal, Georgia Tech. A 31-yard pickup before Porch pushed him out of bounds.
Mark, we talk how important Cam Chancellor is, the safety. Watch the safety right here, and he is going to get chopped. He is up there close to the line of scrimmage. Watch the slot back come right there and block him. They have that thing schemed perfectly right there, Mark. Boom.
Great block by.
And when you talk about low blocks, that's what I'm talking about, low blocks, below the knees.
Here's Dwyer on the carry on 1st and goal. Still moving. Boy, a great effort by Jonathan Dwyer. You see where they spot the ball. Just inches shy of that goal line. He picked up 3, but it was a hard-earned 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
It's 2nd down and goal from the 1.
Bud Foster's, that signal is, this offense is driving me crazy. I've stood right there and felt like making the same signal, I promise you.
On 2nd and goal coming up. Nesbitt. Touchdown.
It's a chess game, Mark, and anytime you give Paul Johnson time at halftime to go in, settle down his offense, make the adjustments, now it's going to come back to Bud Foster making some adjustments.
Well, for Nesbitt, Bob, that's his 2nd touchdown of the night. The 8th rushing one of the season for him. He was the one that said that he hates the way last year's game went because they beat themselves, he feels. Well, so far, Josh Nesbitt is lighting up the night here in Atlanta. Georgia. Crowd getting hyped.
Is that not the theme song of college football crowds now?
That's
overtaken like We Will Rock You and some of those classics, huh?
You're scaring me with how topical you are. You are Mr. News. You know what's going on.
Well, we're going to get on Pakistan here in a few minutes, man.
Here's the kickoff, a short one, bouncing at the 20. That's Roberts on the return. Dyrell Roberts, and Dyrell is ready to dial it in. Still on his feet and finally brought down at the 27-yard line.
And some problems are not fixable if you're Georgia Tech. Kickoff coverage has been a huge problem. And Dyrell Roberts, number 2 in the nation, Mark, 98 yards against Alabama, 76 against Nebraska. He better put that football away and tuck a little closer to his body there, but that's an explosive return at a key time.
Trying to get some of that momentum back. Taylor on the move. Tyrod Taylor tiptoeing out of bounds at the 20-yard line. This defense has been reinvigorated and reborn tonight for Georgia Tech, Bob.
Yeah, Mark, and isn't that the great thing about sports in general? As bad as it was last week, that pendulum swings and you get another chance to go play the next week. And this Georgia Tech defense, Dave Womack, the defensive coordinator, has to be congratulated for this effort so far in this game. But what a difference, huh?
Sure is. We talked to Derek Morgan, number 91, as well, and he said that he told his teammates they've got to be accountable. A very impassioned speech to his defensive teammates about getting the job done this week. This is Ryan Williams, who was slowed down in the first half, not only by the Yellow Jacket defender spot, but by the sickness that has slowed him down over the last several days. Didn't look to be himself, the same guy we saw on tape.
I agree. I mean, and again, credit to this Georgia Tech defense. I mean, they have played very physical, but I am on the Ryan Williams bandwagon based on what I watched on tape.
3rd and 2. Williams stuffed. Not sure that he got it. Cedric Griffin was there to make the stop. He was the first one, the team's leading tackler. And it's going to be 4th down and about 3 to go.
Cedric Griffin, a very talented undersized linebacker at 5'11", stepped up in that hole right there, number 54.
They're going to go for it here on 4th. They're 3 of 7 on 4th downs this year. Williams, great second effort. It might have been enough to just get that 1st down. Wow, that was a very interesting spot. Williams comes up short.
Mark, these spots are reviewable. If we can take another look at that, let's just check where that football. You can see right there, man. That guy wants a review.
Well, the defense comes up big for Georgia Tech.
Well, let's take a look and see where this football ends up. Ryan Williams, a strong runner at 205 pounds.
Get to about the 21. Came up a touch short. They give it to Dwyer, the fullback. Jonathan Dwyer picks up about 3 on the play. Jonathan Dwyer has been the cornerstone of this offense, and Bob, it was interesting when we met with him prior to the Florida State game when Paul Johnson took over as head coach. Johnson ironically recruited him when Johnson was still at Navy, and of course, you know, Dwyer says, "Oh, I'm big on marching at 6 a.m. in the morning in the uniform," so he chose Georgia Tech, and ironic that Johnson would end up ultimately at Georgia Tech and playing in this wishbone. There's Anthony Allen. That's the same play that had success earlier. Not as much this time. Chancellor made the tackle, but a pickup of 4 on the play. This defense, though, for Virginia Tech, statistically, Bob, not where they usually are nationally, but still a very stout one. A lot of that has to do with the system that continues to be successful, run by Bud Foster.
No question, Mark. I mean, anytime as a player you want to play for someone and you want to be a part of something that's different and special, and that's what Bud Foster has established here at Virginia Tech. I mean, there is great pride in playing defense for the Hokies.
Give us to Dwyer, and Dwyer gets the 1st down. And we talked about Bud Foster, but it's interesting when you talk about the togetherness of the staff. Nesbitt up top for Thomas, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Dorian Porch. And Virginia Tech catches a break defensively.
Mark, that is a huge turnover right there. Tyler Melton, the receiver, looked like he was open. Dorian Porch, with that ball hanging up in the air, had enough time to rally and make that play. A big turnover for Virginia Tech defense right on.